Hi guys, I'm Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be playing with the large die of the month for October 2023 from Spellbinders. It's called Christmas Boutique, and I've already done a lot of die cutting and changed my mind like 3 times while I was doing some die cutting and deciding what I was going to do. To start off with, I was going to just cut everything out of white, and you can see that I kind of changed my mind. I also changed my mind midstream and thought, you know what I think would look cool? What if we had the windows light up? So this die does not cut them out, but there are additional dies to cut out the window pieces to go in there. So I just layered those up. There's these. There's 2 of them for the windows, and then there are a couple for the door. We've got a door, and then we've got the 2 window panes there. So I just layered them up on the piece of cardstock. This is what the big die does. This is what it looks like when you cut those out. And I did get it crooked, but that's okay. I cut out a separate door because I thought, well, maybe we should do a different color of the door against the background, and it matches close enough. So that is kind of the plan here. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling, and I'll show you what each of the dies does as we get to the die. I've got my little roof. I've got the roof die has got this separate little piece that is a band to go across the bottom. So I decided to cut that out of a different color. So I'm going to just start with what's in front of me and start just assembling some things. And then once we get to the might be better, I just changed my mind. You guys know I do that. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. I think what I need to do is get the main panel ready, including the lights, and then we can start putting all the things on top of it so that we can make sure everything works exactly the way that I want it to. Now, the idea that I had is to put some white cardstock behind our little house, and I brought out a piece of foam just to act as a little bit of an idea as to how high I need to do. And then that looks pretty good, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the light is low enough. Actually, I think it was supposed to go this way. That's why it's not quite right. I want it to go low enough so that it's going to basically just do a glow from the bottom. And it actually works when you have... Can you see the glow? So that's what the idea is going to be. So that means I need a piece of white cardstock to go across the back here. I'm going to use regular weight cardstock. I use heavyweight cardstock for a lot of what I do. So heavyweight means that it's going to be more of a blocker. Lighter weight, so this is like 80 pound, lighter weight cardstock is going to make it so it doesn't block it quite as much, and we'll be able to get that glow through there. You could also use vellum, but I'm thinking that vellum's probably going to be, I'm thinking that vellum is probably going to show the light a little bit brighter than what I want. So I'm just going to cut me a piece of cardstock to go across the back, and that does look like it's about the right. So now I can just go ahead and add some glue around those window apertures. Okay, and then I'll just trim it off the end over here. Okay, so now we have that. Now we could have done it just behind the regular cardstock, but yeah, I kind of want to have a little bit of a contrast between the two, and I want to make sure that there's a little bit more of a blockage from the darker cardstock. I'm also going to make sure that I put foam around the windows because I want just the windows to light up, right? Also cut out a second of the large die kind of to do as a backer, and I'm going to layer everything up, and we're going to have the little shop is going to be the one big piece that we're going to then be able to put onto a card base. Let me grab a pencil to get an idea of where I want this to go. Now the lights I'm using are from Pear Blossom Press, and I've already tangled them all up. This is actually pretty easy to use. I have done light up cards before with the copper tape, and my brain sometimes gets tangled like these wires are, and I forget how everything is supposed to work. So with the Easy Light, it is super, super easy. You just put your battery in. There is a little plus sign on the top, so you put the plus side of your battery. See the plus? You just put your plus in there, and then it's going to light up. So it's perfect. You just have to place you basically just need to place your lights where you want them to go. And I'm also looking through this. You can see kind of, there you go. You can see a little bit of the light through there. So my mark is a little bit higher than what I wanted. That is okay. Also, I'm kind of wanting to do a little bit of reflection off of the white panel in the back. So I'm going to put this just below and having the little yellow piece. You can see that. The yellow piece is the actual LED. So I'm going to have that facing me, away from the front of the card, and just below where I see that the window is. And this actually works better than what I was trying before of trying to just kind of guesstimate. So I'm going to tape that in place. So we've got our first light. And you can see it is glowing from right underneath the window. I'm going to do the same thing with the other two. Okay, for the one in the middle, I'm going to try not to cover too much of the bottom panel so some light can come through. If it doesn't work that way, it's going to be fine. We're going to still have plenty of light and it's still going to look super cute. Perfect. Okay, so now we have all of our lights are already in place, and it's positioned on the door so that it's going to have some light going up into the top and into the bottom. So that, I think, is going to look fabulous. Next, we just need to figure out where do we want to put our mechanism. So I think I'm going to have it behind my poinsettia. That would be kind of cool. So I'm going to place it up here. And then I can adhere everything over the top. So to adhere this down, I'm going to just use some double-sided adhesive. And since it's going to be facing this way, I'm just going to put it right over the battery. Okay, so again, I'm going to put my little button right in the middle of my poinsettia. So there we go. And now I just need to position all of my wires. Now you're not really going to be able to see the wires from the front. I'm just going to kind of twist them around, make sure I pull them up so they're not showing from the bottom, and then just add some tape up here to hold them up and out of the way. There we go. Oh, that is going to be adorable. Next, I'm going to use some Pear Blossom Press World's Best Foam Tape. And when she says World's Best, she's serious, yeah. This stuff is absolutely amazing. It is double thick, which means it's the perfect thickness for our little battery. It keeps it just enough distance above. It's repositionable, which is absolutely fabulous. And it's repositionable for 30 minutes. And yeah, so it works for both of things. Plus the release paper comes off super, super easy also. So it's, yeah, the thing that I think everybody is really shocked when they hear is that it is repositionable, because nobody has got foam tape that you can not really worry about ripping your cardstock. Okay, this is going to go right across here. And then we have some down at this end, right across there. Just double checking. Oh, that is going to be so cool. And I can't really add any to the sides because there's got that very, very narrow bit. Actually, I'm going to cut a really thin sliver of foam just to give a little bit of stability on the sides of those windows. And it does not block the light. That is fabulous. Okay, great. And I'm actually thinking I want it a little bit further down too, because I don't want the light coming out the sides of the cards. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I had not thought about using slivers of it until just now, and this is going to be fabulous. It means you can basically make a box to hold your light so that it doesn't go in areas that you don't want it to. And I think that that is pretty much perfect. Let's line it up on the other card. I think that looks pretty good. There is some that is sneaking out the sides, and that's because I've got a little bit of a gap, but I think that is going to still work perfectly. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put a little bit of foam again behind some of our flowers so that it gives it a little more stability up at the top. And then we can start putting together the rest of our cute little shop, because this is a little Christmas shop. And I think I am going to add a little bit more foam right across here. It's going to help to hold the wires in place and give a little bit more stability there too. And I think I actually need a little bit in between the windows and the door. There we go, because I don't like saggy middles, and that's probably the one thing about light up cards, depending on how you make them, that you could wind up with an issue. If you have too much area in there because you need the light to go through, if you have too much area in there though, you could wind up with it sagging some, and don't really want that. Okay, take off the release paper. Like I said, this stuff comes off super easy. Okay, and then we're going to just line it up at the bottom of our building here. Line everything up and then put it all in place. And there we go. So we've got the main piece all done, and including the lights. I think that is going to be fabulous. So we've got a lot of pieces to be able to add onto our little building, and I think I've got everything cut out the right number of times. We've got one poinsettia, we've got, and the poinsettia goes here, and then we've got 3 of the smaller flower, 1, 2, and the third one goes over here. So I went ahead and cut those all out. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble the flowers first. And it's real simple, real quick and easy. It's just layering those guys up. And since these are such fine little lines on the overlay part of our roses, I'm just using some glue on my hand to be able to pick up that glue and just put it right over there in place. And now our flower is done. And even if you don't get it lined up perfect, if you get it actually offset a little bit, it's probably going to look pretty cool, because that will basically give it a little bit more dimension, right? And I'm just going to lay them onto our little shop here. Kind of make sure I've got enough of everything and to get an idea of how they're supposed to go. So we've also got our poinsettia. So here's our little poinsettia leaf. And since it's got specific places it's supposed to go, I think I'm going to actually lay those guys on top together and actually glue them directly on. And now that I think about it, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I can always tuck things around. We've got a lot of the little green leaves. The leaves come in this piece. We've got the holly leaf and then a couple of other leaves, so those all go on there. And I cut that out. There's 2 of those dies, but it looks like there were 3 of the holly leaf, so I've got 3 of each. At least I thought I had 3 of each. I may have to cut out another one because it looks like, oh, there we go. I thought the other one was missing. So since I want the leaves to be kind of tucked behind, I'm going to put them on first. There's also a bunch of little berries, so I've gone ahead and cut out a bunch of those. This die has just the same amount as what I'm seeing in the images on the Spellbinders website. So this guy has a bunch of berries. I'm going to put those on. I think I'm going to put those on next, and then I can put my flowers on. But I'm also noticing I don't want them to be, I don't want the roof to overlap those. So I'm going to go ahead and add my roof down next. And I may have to go back and reposition. And of course we're using the acrylic block to help everything stay down. Okay, while that is drying, before I go on to more of the flowers, I'm going to go ahead and assemble my sentiment. I cut out 3 of the Noel. The reason I did that is I wanted it to be nice and thick when I put it on there. It's almost like chipboard, because I don't want to add any additional foam on the front of this card. This is already going to have plenty of dimension, so we don't need to add any more, right? And I decided to go with that red foil that I used for the flowers for this sentiment. I think that is good. That's kind of neat. Every time I press down on this, it lights up. This is so cool. I'm going to go ahead and put this little guy together. This is the center of our poinsettia flower. Let that one dry, and then we can start working on a couple of other pieces. So I went ahead and cut out 3 of the awning. Not sure if I can actually use all 3, but we're going to give it a try. So that's those guys, and then we've got our little door. I've also got a little picket fence. So I went ahead and cut 2 of those out, and that's because even though this is, I believe this is heavyweight cardstock, I wanted to be a little bit more stable when we put it down, and we've got some trees. So first off, I've already folded on these little score lines that we've got. So this is going to be so we can kind of tuck around the front of our building, and it should be able to fold flat because it's basically a little box, so we'll be able to fold it flat. But we're going to add another of the fence to the front, and I'm just going to cut it right along one of those perforated edges, and we're going to glue this to the front of our fence here. And that should make the front of our fence a little bit more stable. I'm going to put it under the block to make sure I get it all nice and flattened out. And now this is pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and add the center to my poinsettia flower. I will be cutting out I will be stamping and cutting out a push me button for over here at some point. It's probably going to go about where that little center is, but I keep playing with it. I'm sorry, guys. I think this is just still too cute. Okay. We've still got a few different pieces cut out over here. I cut out bases for my tree. That's this die here. I cut out two different colors because I'm not sure. Do I want to go with red or do I want to go with gold? So we're just going to have to decide. Right now I'm thinking probably red because this has got a lot of red and there's not any gold anywhere in the card so far. First off, let's go ahead and add our little door on here. And I'm going to try lifting up the bottom of our roof just a little bit to fit it in there because the door should have gone on there first. And let's see, what do we want to do about our little trees? Do we want the red base? I'm kind of thinking I want the red. Yeah, I like the little red pot. So I'm going to do that. Just add a little bit of glue to the bottom of the tree. And stick that on. And we'll do the same thing with the other. So our trees are going to go, I think they'll go kind of nice in front of those windows. We do need some ornaments, which is what we've got some of these other circles, I believe, for. And I'm also going to add a little doorknob. There is an indentation in the door for that, so I'm just going to add a little bit of glue there, and then we can add one of our little red dots to act as a doorknob. There we go. This is so cute. Okay, now I'm going to add a few of those little red dots onto the tree as ornaments. Okay, we'll go ahead and glue down one of our trees right in front of that window. And do the same thing with the other. Also going to add this trim to the roof line. Okay, and then let's lay these out and see whether or not we can get all three on there, or do we want, kind of liking the two. The third one could go, actually I think we can do all three. Okay, gonna lay these guys flat, and then I'm gonna take a thin piece of foam for the third one because it's gonna have that little bit of overlap, but it's still not gonna add too much dimension. Plus we've got our little fence that's gonna add a little dimension as well. And one right there. I am loving this. Okay, let's go ahead and add our fence, and then we can add our little sentiment, and we're almost done. Only other thing, still have to think about the card base and what do I want to put behind my house here. Because that foam, yeah, actually I was trying to do something different. I was trying to put it in between the paper and the other paper, the paper that was behind it. So because that foam lets me lift it, which is awesome, I'm able to sneak this in and have it lined up right with the bottom. I'm gonna go right there and press it back down so that the foam is going to grab again. Like I said, you've got a half hour for that foam. Okay, so I'm going to hold this for a second to make sure that that gets a good hold on there. And while I'm doing that, I can think about my sentiment. What do I want to do with it? I'm kind of wanting to do it. Yes, right on the front in the middle right there. That is going to be fabulous. Okay, so now we're going to adhere the other side. Again, just adding some glue to that last little tab so we can tuck it under. And I'm looking here and I do have foam all the way to the edge there. So let's go ahead and pull the foam off of the cardstock so we can tuck this under. It also means that the foam is going to be holding it in place as well. There we go. Oh, that is just simply adorable. Oh my goodness. Love, love, love that. Okay, now I need to work on the background on the main panel. We're going to actually make this a 5x7 card so we can fit this little guy on there. Yeah, it's going to have to go over where we added the center, but that's okay. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue and my little note here. It says push me. There we go. So for the background, for the rest of the card, yeah, done. Almost done, yes. Okay, I am loving this background. This is the embossing folder of the month. It is called Christmas Tile, and it's just super lovely. And I'm going to be using that as a little extra interest on the back of this 5x7 card. So I've got a 5x7 card base. I'm just going to glue this down straight to the card base, and then we can put our little shop right over the top. And I'm going to let it dry for a minute, and after making sure that it is actually on there straight, and of course it's just a touch crooked. There we go. So now we're going to let it dry for a minute, and then our card's going to be done. Okay, I kind of lied. I just couldn't let this strip that I cut off the main panel from that embossing, I couldn't let it go to waste. So I'm going to put this on the inside of the card. And then just trim it off of the excess on the ends, and that's going to finish this card up. So I am very, very happy with how this turned out. Let's take a look at it without the lights. Oh gosh, that looks just so darling. It looks great with or without the lights. I love this. You guys, yeah, y'all have a wonderful day, and be sure to check out the playlist to see some more card videos where I'm using Spellbinders products, and I will talk to you soon. Bye guys.